most of what we were speaking about is the need of the body, usually speaking in the most simple sense of hunger and homelessness. Now, before getting into that, the point to understand is that if the needs, the innate needs of your body are not being fulfilled, then there is an obstruction that prevents you, that makes it hard to get closer to the divine. That we have a teaching in Islam that poverty leads to disbelief. That poverty often opens the door to disbelief. Often someone who is in need will be begging to the divine, but if that need is not being fulfilled, we might fall into desperation. The body. The mind, the innate need of the mind is learning. And the most innate of learning is learning who is the divine. But learning, knowledge, this is expressed in our language by curiosity. Every one of us has curiosity. That is the need of the mind expressing itself. So in education, if you stifle curiosity, if you shut down curiosity, you're actually causing damage to a person's mind. Okay. The deeper need is the need of the heart. And the need of the heart is connection. And the word we use for that is love. But to make that point a step further, I'm going to do a very short exercise. It'll take about 15 seconds. I want you to think of something that you wish you could have. Those who are fasting in this room are probably thinking of food. But think of something you wish you could have. And I'm saying to think of something that you might not even share with yourself, like reunion with a loved one who has passed away, or someone who's young might seek the validation or the approval of their parents. Now think about that. And I'll give you about 10 seconds to focus on that feeling, this yearning. Just focus on this yearning that you have to be reunited with this person, or to win this, or to earn that. Okay, that yearning is the yearning of the heart, which again, in its most simplest form, is a yearning for connection. Deep in that, it is a yearning for love, but the deepest way to fulfill that yearning is with a connection to the divine. What are we saying in the Islamic paradigm? The body, the mind, the heart, all of them are seeking connection with the divine, but in the worldly level, they're fulfilled in other ways. Heart with love for your spouse, heart with love for your parents, heart with love for your children, with love for your neighbor, with love for strangers, with love for those people who oppose you. Mind, how do we fulfill it? Through this curiosity, by learning how the world works. This is how our educational system works. The body, the focus is, again, connection, but materially, the intimate connection between a husband and wife, or the hug between a parent and a child, as well as food, as well as property, material connections. Okay? Now the soul becomes happy when these are being fulfilled. The soul becomes unhappy when these cross boundaries or when they're not being fulfilled. But the innate point I want you to take from this first part is that we are each in yearning. Now, having said that, speaking more about the body, the situation of the physical material world, I'm going to give you a couple principles. First one in this paradigm is that I do not own myself. I do not own my body. I do not own my wealth. All of it comes from the divine. All of it is in the possession of the divine. And then when I pass away, it gets returned back to the divine. I do not own this earth. What is given to me of this earth will then be returned back to the earth. And so not only should my concern be how I receive what I'm being given, how do I hand it off to the next generation, and then how do I hand it off to the world beyond. So, then, part of the design of this world is struggle. Guaranteed. But we will not be hit with anything we cannot bear. Okay? We will all go through levels of highs and lows of wealth. We will go through periods of fear. We will go through loss of life of loved ones and eventually of ourselves. We'll go through loss of wealth, loss of fruits, so forth and so on. This is a guarantee. This is part of the journey of the experience in this world, but I will never be hit with something that I cannot make it through. Meaning, how do I pass the test of struggle? I persevere with trust in the divine. That I will be okay. Unless it's a sickness or something that's going to be taking my life, I still will pass through and continue on in this world. And the next point, that my divine owns me. The divine is also deciding who to give what. And proof of that is that if we were to ask each person in this room, how much wealth do you have this moment? How much wealth have you earned in the past year? Every single one of us will be at a different level. right? Part of the design of this world is that the divine will give some more and will give some less. And because our focus is on those who have been given less, this leads to the last point in these principles, that I have individual and collective obligations to those who are in need. I have individual and collective obligations to those who do not have shelter and sustenance, to give them shelter and sustenance. Meaning, in my capacity, according to the wealth that I've given, or that I've been given, I give of that. But it's my collective responsibility in society to make sure there is no one in society that is without a home. It is my collective responsibility in society to make sure that everyone has access to healthy sustenance. Meaning, if my society is not fulfilling that, then in our tradition, everyone in society will be held to account before the divine for that. Further, not just shelter and sustenance, but the ability to earn and the ability to be paid, or the privilege to be paid what someone is earning, as well as to get paid, to get what you are paying for. Meaning, trade and travel should be fair. This is my obligation as a member of society to everyone else. The third, so shelter and sustenance, trade and travel. And the third is that everyone in society must feel secure. It is often a tool of leadership to exploit fear. It is our responsibility to everyone in society that people feel secure. Now, feeling secure is not based on how many locks you have in your door, or do you feel that you're getting, that your neighbor is a criminal. It's a condition of the heart. And the last one is protection of religion. That everyone's religious practices have to be protected. What I'm sharing with you are the basics of what we call the Sharia, Islamic law. These are my obligations. So just to sum up, first and foremost, think of the yearnings that you have: body, mind, heart, and soul. And each of us are by design full of yearning. And then second, these principles: that the divine owns me, that the divine will give me struggle, but not anything I cannot handle, that he will give different levels of wealth to each of us, which then creates obligations from those who have to those who have not. And then we focus on four aspects of life: trade and shelter and sustenance, trade and travel, security from fear, and protection of religion. But to sum it all up, the Prophet, peace be upon him, tells us that when he swears by this, that when you give, your wealth does not decrease. That if you give of your wealth, you might see a decrease in your bank account, but you will see your net wealth is still exactly the same. With that, may the peace and blessings of God be upon you all. Thank you for